These days, people are talking much more about food. People are questioning where their food comes from, what's good for them, what should they be eating, and whether animals are being farmed in the right way. Young people are beginning to think a little bit more about the ethics of food production, but few really know about the reality of eating meat.
My favourite meat is chicken, but I don't really know where it's from. I think it's from farms.
I don't know where ham comes from. I just tend to not think about it really.
Animals are living creatures like us, so we have to give them a little bit of respect. But when I'm eating chicken, I don't really think about it because I just like it and I can't help it.
Some people don't know, like, when you eat meat, where it's all come from and where it's been before it got to your plate.
To find out more about the animals we eat, we need to start at the beginning. The ancestors of all farmed animals were once wild and free. Take chickens, for example. The birds that are nowadays farmed to produce meat and eggs are descended from red jungle fowl who live in the forests of Asia. The pigs we see on farms today are descended from European wild boars, and they can still be found today in parts of Central Europe. Both chickens and pigs have been selectively bred over hundreds and thousands of years.
Until the 1950s, while many farmed animals suffered mistreatment and neglect, they often had the opportunity to exercise and feel fresh air. The majority of farms in those days were small family concerns. But soon after the Second World War, things began to change. Farming methods became driven largely by the quest to produce vast quantities of cheap food. Animals were bred to grow faster, put on more muscle for meat, and give birth to much larger litters, making huge profits for farmers. Big companies started to control the industry.
Gradually, it became standard practice to imprison huge numbers of animals inside large sheds, where light, heat and feed can be closely controlled. It's known as factory farming because animals are treated like units on a production line, and everything that makes life worth living, like fresh air and exercise, are ignored.
It's a bit sick really, but it's the life cycle, it's what happens.
I think a lot of farms are good with chickens and that, but some just don't look after them properly.
On the farms, I think that the pigs are happy with their families, but they don't have a clue that they're going to die.
And I don't think that pigs have any emotions or feelings, and they're just there to be eaten and fattened up on the farm.
I'm at an animal sanctuary to find out a little bit more about the different personalities of chickens and pigs. Hello, Marion.
Oh, hiya, Hester. How are you?
Again. Can I see some of your new animals?
Please do. I'd love you to. Yeah.
So who's this?
Oh, this is Kerry. She's about a year old now and coming up for a year old.
So tell me how you got Kerry.
She just found somebody brought her to us. It's not an uncommon scenario, I think, with piglets, because they're so slippery, if you like, they just escape, and I think they're just so uber intelligent.
And how was she as a piglet? What was she like when she came to you?
I always say hand rearing a piglet is the most fun you could ever have in your life. They are hysterical.
And do they have different personalities? Do they all behave in the same way? Or?
But no, they're as different as you and I. I mean, some of them are irritable. Most of them, however, are wonderful.
I can hear quite a lot of snoring behind me.
Yeah.
Do you think these pigs dream when they sleep?
Definitely, yeah, I really do. I mean, they scrabble their feet and they chatter and their eyes move. I mean, everything indicates to me that they're dreaming. Of course, they're very intelligent. Why would they not? They're extraordinary animals and way more intelligent than a dog. I taught, for instance, one pig to sit, took me about half an hour, and in no time flat, I'd say 90% of my pigs could sit on command purely by observation. Could your dog do that? Could you take your dog to a training class and expect to sit and watch, and at the end of it, your dog will be trained?
These pigs are clearly very happy animals. In contrast, what's it like for farmed pigs?
Gosh, it's so, I mean, I find it so difficult, so heartbreaking. It's awful, it's awful.
Pig farming is amongst the most intensive of all. 70% of pigs farmed for food in this country are reared inside factory farms. They will never see daylight and never feel grass under their trotters. These are the mother pigs, sows, who produce the piglets who are fattened for bacon, ham and sausages. They are confined in these metal structures called farrowing crates when they are about to give birth and are kept there for up to 3 or 4 weeks. Farrowing crates are designed to allow piglets to suckle while stopping them from being crushed by their mothers. But they are not natural and deny mother pigs their natural instinct to build a nest and look after their young. After only 3 to 4 weeks, the piglet is taken away. The mother is soon made pregnant again, usually through artificial insemination, and the piglet is put into crowded pens to be fattened for meat. These curious young animals are stressed and bored in their barren and overcrowded crates, often frantically trying to bite the tails off their penmates out of frustration. Farmers try to prevent this by breaking off some of their teeth and cutting the ends off their tails. Factory farm pigs are specially bred to grow unnaturally fast and put on a lot of weight, which puts a great strain on their bodies and causes painful health problems, particularly to their legs. On factory farms, the conditions are often filthy, which makes a perfect breeding ground for infectious diseases such as swine flu and meningitis. It doesn't seem fair that all that happens for the sake of a sausage.
But it's not only pigs that have got this problem. Do you want to come and meet the chickens?
Let's go and meet the chickens.
Come on then.
So are chickens like pigs? Do they have different personalities?
Oh, crikey, yeah. I mean, we've had chickens that just love people, hate chickens. We, in fact, have one now that hates chickens and loves ducks. Brilliant.
Mon chéri, je t'aime. Mon amour.
What do they spend their time doing? What sort of behaviours do they have?
Well, they roam quite far and wide, given the opportunity.
And do they make friends with each other?
Oh, yeah. They make little groups of friends and they all go off together and they wait. And some of them, in fact, I found waiting outside of other ones' houses. They live in different houses, waiting outside for them to be let out in the morning. And when they come out, they play and they all run up and down, completely liberated and free. And I cannot see how that can be fulfilled in any way for them in a farm environment.
They may look different from their wild ancestors, but today's pigs and chickens are similar in many ways. They want to do the same things and behave in the same way. They haven't lost any of their basic natural instincts. As factory farms have got bigger and more intensive, so the farming industry has grown more secretive about what goes on inside. Animal Aid sent a team of undercover investigators to show the price that animals really pay to produce our meat. Approximately 95% of the chickens farmed for food in this country are reared inside huge sheds on factory farms. There may be 45,000 birds crammed into a single shed. They are known as broiler birds and have been specially bred to produce meat rather than eggs. At this stage, they are only 10 to 12 days old. They have no daylight and nowhere to perch or hide away from the other birds. A week later though, it's starting to get a lot more crowded because the birds are fastened up so fast. They have been bred to grow at twice the natural rate, and they are also fed a high-protein diet to make them put on more weight quickly.
These birds are growing unnaturally fast. It's like having an adult's body on a child's legs. Those legs just simply cannot cope with that weight. And what we are seeing is a lot of animals that are lame or that are crippled, and these animals actually die because they cannot reach the water, they cannot reach the food.
This bird is convulsing, won't move at all, and obviously is in an absolutely dire situation and needs to be removed.
This bird's really ill.
I wonder how long she's been unable to get to water. This is definitely a bird who requires immediate veterinary assistance.
This film was taken on our investigators' third visit. The birds are now 26 days old, and the health problems created by rapid growth rates and overcrowding are more obvious. These sheds provide the perfect environment for infectious diseases to spread.
Viruses that normally would die out in nature are kept alive in the factory environment. People in very close contact with animals can then become infected with these very dangerous viruses and bacteria.
When the chicken reach 39 days old, they are only 3 days away from the time they are taken for slaughter. There is barely enough room to move at all now, and the bedding of wood shavings or chopped straw is wet and filthy with urine and droppings. Walking around in their own mess causes burns and sores to develop on feet and legs. While healthy chickens would normally live for about 6 years, these broiler birds are sent off to be killed after just 6 weeks.
When you open a chicken shed, this is what you see. The size of a football ground, but a massive white. If you can imagine trying to walk in there, pick them up, throw them, catch, catch, catch. If their wings break, they break. If their legs break. Most nights we went out to catch 35,000 chickens, 8 to 12 drawers, 30 chickens in a drawer, all chucked in a heap together. They'll fit in there on top of one another, but what happens? There's no breathing space, very little air. If they was a bit lively, their heads would be stuck in drawers and you shut the drawer and their heads would come off. It's not a nice sight. But the chicken companies, they want quantity, not the quality.
In the UK, 800 million chickens are slaughtered every year. Now that's the same as more than 2 million chickens being killed every day.
Some days you go to work and you think, oh, these poor chickens, can I open the door and let them run free? And you think, I wish, but you knew it wasn't possible.
So what can you do if you don't think this is right? One option is reduce the amount of meat you eat and only choose free-range organic. But even these animals are sent to the slaughterhouse when they're very young. So that's why young people now are choosing a different option. What's it like now for you lot being vegetarian?
It's actually opened my eyes to a lot bigger variety of food that I've really enjoyed.
Places like here, there's always a huge range of things to eat.
And there's always good alternatives to meat, and they taste just as nice.
and many of my friends have tried them and said they can't even taste different. So it's just easier on the environment and everything else.
So do you think it makes you think about things more?
Yeah, I have much more self-control than a lot of my friends would. Like, I have control over what I put in my body.
And how does it make you feel, Scarlett?
I'm proud to be vegan because it shows that I respect all the life and animals. People should realise where the food comes from, how animals are slaughtered, and how animals are treated in the process of making food.
In the end, the choice is yours. The fate of millions of animals depend upon the choices that ordinary people like you make about the food on their plate. Every decision you make can make a difference to their lives.